And so we watched this video, we watched this letter, that you must understand that this is the proof. And the Venerable Dalai Lama, he is a spiritual leader, he's a great man, he's a holy man, and yet that the CCP has deceived him for the last 50 years. So that is why I think that, but I feel like the Dalai Lama politically was very naive, because he always believed that the Communist Party has a kindness. So I want to say to the Dalai Lama that please don't believe CCP again. They have been deceiving you, and they will never honor their promise. And in the future, CCP is just like a black gangster. How can you believe the gangster or the mob? Now, Mr. Bannon, I must ask you, after you watch this video, after watching this video, how do you feel? Can you share with us your thought?
I tell you, and I think the world owes, and the people in China owe Miles and guo.media a great depth of gratitude for both having the video and having the letter, and the letter both translated into English and obviously in Chinese. You know, Karen and I are Catholics, but there's a unanimous opinion throughout the world of religious believers and people who don't even believe in religion, that the Venerable Dalai Lama is a holy man, and probably one of the most holy men in the world, right? You don't have to be Buddhist, you don't have to be Chinese, you don't have to be Tibetan to understand the moral authority and power of the Dalai Lama. And when you see Miles, when you watch the video and the interview and you read the letter, I mean, the Dalai Lama goes back and refers again and again to seek truth through facts, right? Let's talk about facts. Let's seek the truth through facts. He talks about the rule of law. He talks about the anti-corruption. And it's very evident in this that he never had any intention. He was very specific in saying, we're not trying to create a greater Tibet. We're looking for a middle way. We understood what the deal was with Deng Xiaoping many, many years ago, and we're trying to live up to this. But once again, I think you see, you know, the same is in Hong Kong, the same with Taiwan, is the CCP, this radical cadre of the CP can't be trusted. I mean, it's throughout this whole letter and throughout the interview, and here you have one of the world's holiest men. The reason I think this is incredibly relevant today on the New Year's Eve celebration is that you have, particularly in the West, you have both Pope Francis, right, who represents the Catholic Church and the 1.4 billion Catholics, who is actually entering into an agreement that is actually a much deeper agreement than even the Dalai Lama represented for Tibet and for the Buddhist people and for Tibetan Buddhism. And you have the United States with President Trump starting to enter into an overall agreement. And the question gets to be, you know, now you have Hong Kong, you have Taiwan, and you have one of the holiest men in the world that clearly is living up to his side of the bargain. Yet once again, you have this radical cadre that will not abide by their previous agreements. And I think that this video should be watched over and over and over again. You see the humility, you see the power of his moral authority, you see his goodness, and you read this letter and you see how he lays it out very logically. And I would recommend that you read the letter in Chinese or in English. And Miles, I would hope that guo.media would also translate this into many other languages so people in Europe can understand this, that here you have one of the holiest men in the world, right? Maybe the holiest men that's ever lived on earth, right? The Venerable Dalai Lama in a very heartfelt interview saying, hey, you know, we are living up to our side of the bargain, but they are not living up to their side. They're actually lying about this. He says it in so many words, and you just see that this is a continual oppression, and it's to this theme that this radical cadre cannot be trusted. They do not live up to agreements, and they do not believe in the rule of law.
Mr. Bannon, you said something very important. You see, from this incident, we must not believe the CCP, no matter the China-US trade negotiation. I think that any country will be deceived and nothing could be trusted. Even the Vatican is going to be the next person to be deceived, and it's a tragedy. I know that you are devout Catholic. You must urge them not to trust the CCP. And then you see that, but of course, Mr. Bannon has a lot of girlfriends, but everything else to me that he is quite perfect. And then Miss Karen also the same thing. That after you see that the Dalai Lama being received, and this is the biggest deception, this trap. And what do you think?
and the video we just watched are a crystal clear representation of what the party is doing, not only to the followers of any faith. Now, Mr. Bano just said it doesn't really matter whether you're a Buddhist, a Christian, it doesn't matter. You're a Muslim. It doesn't matter. They are acting on two different levels. They are persecuting the followers, but they were able to go up and climb the ladder and reach one of the holiest men in the world and reach the leaders and the very representative of not only Buddhism, but also the Roman Catholic Church. Now, we know that after the establishment of the People's Republic of China in 1949, every religion had to